jet, you know, well, the common question is how shallow can it run? Well, the right answer is subject to the conditions determines how shallow it runs. This boat, in the right conditions, we're running 3 inches of water. And what's happening when you're running at 3 inches of water, you're hydroplaning. If you take this truck down the highway at 65 miles an hour or 55 miles an hour, whatever, and there's 3 inches of water on the road, you're not touching the road anymore because there's enough surface on these tires that it actually lifts the truck up off the road because it can't compress the water and the truck's hydroplaning. That's what the boat's doing. The perfect conditions are smooth riverbed, pea gravel. Pea gravel is the shallowest water you can run. Pea gravel, 3 inches of water, the boat's going fast enough, it's hydroplaning. It does not have to do 65 miles an hour because it has way more surface on the bottom of this boat than the 4 tires do. So it'll do it at 25 miles an hour. And then the speeds can vary subject to the size of the boat and the payload. But so 25, 30 miles an hour, somewhere in there, the jet boat's going to be hydroplaning if it's got a smooth riverbed. So in those conditions, it can run in 3 inches of water. Not all boats can, but this one can. If you have a big rockery rock, and it's deep water, but this rockery rock's got 3 inches of water over the top of it, you're going to hit the rock. There's no hydroplane effect, and you're going to clobber the rock. You don't want to do that, okay? But that's how a boat does that, and for me, when I understand that, it makes me easier to understand, can I run this spot, can I not run this spot, and I can look at it and see the difference.
Right. There's
3 things that you need to have to run a jet boat successfully, in my mind. One is the first thing is you got to be able to read water. So you have to be able to read the water, and you're a fisherman, you're a bank fisherman primarily. When you're fishing, you see this rock, you see the water going over it, you see the little telltale behind it, you can read all that, and you can see there's a rock there, and you can see where there's a slick, where the fast water's coming down. So you have to be able to read the water, tell where it's deep and shallow.
Right.
So the second thing is you have to get used to the boat. You have to the boat's nature. If you go out and ride a snowmobile, dirt bike, a jet ski, you need to go ride it. You need to go feel it. You need to see how it handles in corners before you take it into a challenging situation. Same thing with a jet boat. You need to know its personality and how this particular boat corners. They don't all corner the same. They have different feels, just like cars have different feels. The third thing is you have to be aggressive, not to be confused with foolishness.
Right.
Foolishness is, I have a 4-wheel drive truck and I can go anywhere. Yeah, you're going to go get stuck is what you're going to do. Aggressive is, I've got this dirt bike or this snowmobile and I'm looking at this big hill and I'm looking at it and I'm judging it and I go, you know what? If I carry enough momentum, I can make it up this hill. Once you decide to do that, you have to stay aggressive. You have to finish. You can't go half up the hill and go, oh, I'm not sure, and get off the throttle. That doesn't work. You have to finish the run. So that's the aggressive part. Again, foolishness, you get stuck. Aggressive is, you have a plan, you have to play it through. So now, we're out on the river, and there's a number of riffles and shallow spots, and we run these and go, wow, this works good, and we're all enthused and we're feeling really good, and we gotta be careful we don't get cocky because we're doing so good here. Man, I'm a good jet boat driver, you know, and then get someplace that you don't want to be. So now we're coming up the river. We've run some spots, but we got the spot that intimidates us. It's like, whoa, I'm not sure how to run this riffle or this rapid or whatever it is. It doesn't matter how easy or hard it is. It's your perception of it.
Right.
Is it something that makes you hesitate?
Right.
And if it is, figure it out. Don't run your boat up through this rock pile because you're just thinking you'll feel your way through there. So now the water's deep below and above these skinny spots. It'd be unusual that it's not. You got plenty of water to come off step. You come off step, hold enough throttle to sit there and read it. Take as long as it takes, get a plan. If you're not sure, pull the boat up on the beach, walk up, get a plan, and you go, oh, I see it. I can see how to run this spot. It's cut bank, I run along the bank, I move out around this root ball, and then it's shallow at the top, it crests, I go over the top, got it. Piece of cake. This spot, whatever the the obstacle was, whatever the slalom course was shaped like, that took you a while to determine how to run it, as soon as you get above it, as soon as you get a place where you can either come off step or slow down and look backwards at it, it looks different from the top.
Right.
Water's more difficult to read going down than it is going up. And if it took that long for you to get a plan, you need to look at it from the top. And if it was a big deal for you, look at it, turn around, and you know exactly the route you took, run back down it, you go back up it, and then when you come back a few hours later, you go, oh yes, this is that spot, and you have it, you know how to do it.
Right.
There's times you come back and you didn't look at it and the place looks foreign. You didn't remember the spot being here because you didn't look at it. So that would be very important. Some other things about running shallow. People will say, you know, what happens when you're running 3 inches of water and with all the rocks you're pumping? If you're not touching them, you're not pumping. If you, that same water that you can't compress, that hydroplane the boats, is holding the rocks down.
Is that tunnel helping to keep some of those rocks out of the water that's pushing up there?
Tunnel's absolutely helping, because now the bottom of the jet foot is basically flush with the lowest part of the boat, so it's in that hydroplane surface area.
Perfect.
That's helping keep trying to compress the water, which you can't, but lifting the boat. And the big thing it does is normally jet hangs 3 inches below the bottom of a boat.
That's right.
And so the guy with the flat bottom boat says, I can run at 3 inches of water. Well, he hasn't done his math very well, because his jet needs 3 inches without his boat, so that means his boat can't be touching the water.
Right.
So when you run over this spot and you miss that gravel, hopefully you've got more water than this, but it's shallower than you thought, and you missed it by some small amount, half an inch. You don't know how much it was, but you didn't touch. You go, oh man, I must be pumping rocks. You're not, because that same water that's lifting the boat is compressed, or trying to be compressed.
If in the event that I do suck up pebbles in my intake, are we going to talk about that today on the river? I mean, on the
Yeah, we'll talk. So there are times when you may see a rock kick up behind you. Many times it was just the water flow moving the rock. It wasn't you picking it up. Now that's only when you're hydroplaning. When you're planing, the other thing that you can pick up is something that's suspended in the water: leaves, garbage, plastic bags, something. And you can collect leaves in the fall, because they're all in the river, one at a time. You're unaware. Slowly over a period of time, you've 30 of grills full of leaves, and you got them over a period of hours. And it's like, man, it just doesn't perform like it did before. Well, your water source is restricted, and it's more prone to cavitate, and doesn't accelerate as good. And you realize, oh, I got a lot of leaves in my grill. You stop someplace where it's a good place to stop, turn the motor off, tilt it up. On yours, you got a swim step. You get on the swim step, lean back there, pull the leaves out of the grill, and put it down, and you're good to go.
Right.
Leaves in a jet are not a problem.
Right.
It's a food processor.
Can you just back and reverse and spit them out?
No, because back and reverse is still sucking water up. It's just deflecting the reverse. So reverse does not kick them out.
Okay.
So
what about, I know that, sorry to interrupt you, Glen. I know that with my old boat, if I ever did suck up anything, if I just shut the boat off and let it drift back on a big river, a lot of it would just fall out.
That normally doesn't work if you've picked them up over a period of hours, because now they've got embedded in the grill.
Okay.
Where that truly does work, where now I was sitting there and I started the motor and it's idling and I'm fooling with my gear and getting ready or something. I go to go, and now it's like, it doesn't work. You vacuum this big clump of moss or weeds or grass or something there, and it wasn't riding there and getting impacted in your grill. And at that point, you idle down, turn it off, and many times just current going past the boat will wash that off.
Okay. Good. So
that does absolutely work, but there's times where they've been in there and they're embedded, and you got to manually remove them.
Yes, I've been there.
So the thing you mentioned about rocks, so where you're going to get the rocks are twofold. One is you misjudged that there wasn't enough water and you slid this gravel bar. You don't want to do that, and stuff happens. The other is, I was shallower, there wasn't enough water on my jet while I was idling around. Now we talk we can run in 3 inches, but we can't stop at 3 inches. The boat won't float in 3 inches.
Right.
I would like to have a foot of water under my jet when I'm off step. So how deep's the jet in the water when I'm off step? Depends how much stuff's in the boat. So let's say the jet's a foot in the water. So I'd like to have 2 feet of water to stop and start it. Any of these shallow rivers and the drifts in between, it's that deep, a lot deeper than that, so that's not a problem. What happens is, if it's too shallow under the jet, my jet's a big vacuum cleaner. And if I have no momentum, and the boat's not planing, when I throttle, my only source of water is to suck it. When I'm planing, I'm getting water rammed down my throat by the motion of the boat. So when my vacuum cleaner throttles, now I can vacuum debris off the bottom if I don't have enough water in the jet. So I've got to be conscious of that. Where I'm going to stop, I'd like to have 2 feet of water. And if I'm going to pull up on this beach, if it's a cut beach, I can pull the bow up on the sand and take the throttle and go roof and push it up, because I still got 4 feet of water under my jet. And I can use the throttle to back me off the beach. But if it's a shallow beach, as I'm coming in, I turn the key off and let it drift onto the beach. And get up, pull it up, and then push it out. And if it's marginal water, I start it, put it in reverse, and tippy toe out. I try not to throttle it in this water and get out where it's deeper. If I do get rocks in my grill and they're stuck in my grill, you can notice the performance is hampered some, and you go, I realize they're there, but it's hardly making any difference. I'm going to finish the day. It's insignificant. Or, no, it's affecting me because I got a heavy load today. I'm going to stop and tilt the boat up and get a screwdriver out there and pry between the bars, just spring them a little bit, the rocks will fall out.
Right.
If they go through your jet, they went through your jet. It's a done deal. If a flat one got in there and got turned, it could get stuck in your exhaust tube, and then you got to mess with getting that out of there.
Right.
So you got to be able to read water. You got to know your boat's nature, how aggressive you can handle it, and you have to be aggressive, not to be confused with foolishness. When you're running something shallow, you can't stop in the middle and go gee whiz and pull the throttle back.
Commit to it.
Once you're determined to go, you need to go. So now you got this long riffle, and at the very top it's got a shallow crest, and this little obstacle course, and you've scanned it, you got a plan, and you're running it, and you're 2 boat lengths away from the top. Just on the other side of this crest, it's deep water again, and you're going, I don't think there's enough water here on this crest. What do? It's too late. You should have read it better. You screwed up. You didn't make a good enough plan. Put the throttle down.
That's how those guys beach themselves.
You put well, if it's dry rocks, you just pull the throttle off. I don't know how you got this plan figured out. But it's shallow, but it's all water, and it's deep on the other side. And you're going, yeah, I'm not sure if there's 3 inches. It's too late. Put the throttle down. If you pull off, you're going to hit for sure. If you put the throttle down, you probably go over and go, wow, I didn't even touch. Amazing. Or you go, you skim over it, and you're in the deep water, and now you got to figure out how you're going to get back down, but you're not stuck, you know? So that's another thought. So we're at the water here.
We're at the water.
We're going to go launch this thing.
Wow,
And,
big lake.
yeah, it's 26 miles long.